perfect her. Ew, that was disgusting. I never want to say that again. I have so much energy for 8:30 in the morning. This is ridiculous. Of course the train's gonna go back. Hey guys, welcome back to Bookmas Day 7. Today we are gonna be doing the end of the year book tag. I love this video. I love doing this video. I love seeing and watching all of these videos so much. I want to recap this year. You know, I want to go through some of the books, some of my favorites, some of my least favorites, just talk about the books I read this year. This is the perfect video for it. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I am so excited for this entire video. I hope that you guys are too. We're just gonna dive right into all the questions. There are 22 questions in this book tag and I will leave them in the description box below. But let's go ahead and get started because I'm ready to talk about all the books I read this year. Are you ready? I'm ready. We ready? Okay, let's start. We are kind of started off on a more negative note, but it's okay. Number 1 is most disappointing read of the year. I do have 2. Number 1 is Allegiant and number 2 is A Curse for True Love. I actually ended up DNFing Allegiant and that's why it's on here. I love the Divergent series so much. I really do. I love the movie series. I love everything about it. And the fact that I DNF one of the books just makes me really upset. It was like very disappointing because I was like, I don't actually like the story as much as I thought I did. But it's okay. And then for Curse of True Love, it just didn't wrap up the way I wanted it to. Whenever I first finished it, I was like, oh yeah, that was good. And the more I thought about it, the more I saw other reviews come out, I was like, yeah, it really did not end the way that I really wanted it to. I do love that series. I do love the Heart series, but A Curse of True Love just did not end how I wanted it to. Number 2 is the Underdog book of the year. These are books that like I really didn't expect for me to like, and those two are The Graham Effect and The Fine Print. The Fine Print because I didn't like the first 2 books in the series, but I loved The Fine Print. Like, I really loved this book. I thought it was so good. I was so happy with it. The entire time I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm loving this. I rated it like a 5-star, and that was really surprising because the first 2 books in the series, I rated them like 2 and 3 stars. And then for The Graham Effect, like, you guys know, I don't love the Off-Campus series. That's not my favorite series in the world. But the fact that I really love The Graham Effect, I think I rated that book like a 4 or 4.5. I love that book. I thought it was so good and I was really surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did because I'm not a huge fan of Elle Kennedy's writing, but I loved this book. Number 3 was a book that you thought was overhyped, and for me that is Divine Rivals. I know so many people who love this book. I did read it and I don't know if it was because I was traveling while reading it or what, but I just did not enjoy this book at all. I was confused almost the entire time. I really did not like the world building. At least I didn't understand it. Maybe if I reread it I would like it better, but it wasn't my favorite. Okay, it just wasn't my favorite, and I want to read the next one. I do want to read Ruthless Vow. I do want to read like a little recap of what Divine Rivals was about and then continue on with Ruthless Vow, but just because it's duology, and in my mind I'm like, it's a duology, you have one more book, finish it. So I'll read it, let you guys know maybe in the new year what I think about it, but it wasn't my favorite thing in the whole entire world. Number 4 is a book that surprised you, and for me this is One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. I usually do not love Romeo and Juliet retellings or like anything Romeo and Juliet just because I think it's cliche and I don't even like the Romeo and Juliet original story, but I loved this book and I really think it was because the writing that was in it was just beautiful. It was lyrical, it was amazing, and it really surprised me because at first whenever I picked it up I was like, oh, Romeo and Juliet retelling. Like, I really bought it because the cover was beautiful, but then I read it and I fell in love with the whole entire story. It is one of my favorite books of 2023, and I was really surprised that like once I knew what it was about, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna like this. Then I ended up loving it. As I said, it's one of my favorite books of 2023. Like, question number 5 is favorite book couples of the year. We have Rhysand and Farah from ACOTAR, Theo and Winter from Reckless, Kate and Willa from Heartless, and then we have Carolina and Wes from I'll Always Be With You by Monica Murphy. These are my 4 favorite couples of the entire year. I feel like I've read so many books about so many different couples, but these are the ones that really stuck out to me, the ones that I loved, and like some of my favorite books from this year as well. Question number 6 is your favorite main characters of the year. I really only have one whenever I thought about this that just came on top that I just need to highlight, and that is Nesta from A Court of Silver Flames, or the ACOTAR series just in general. Like, she is one of my favorite characters of the entire year. Like, there are other characters that I love, but none of them compare to her or her character development from like who she is at the beginning of the series back in ACOTAR to who she becomes at the end of ACOSF. It's just so beautiful and nothing can compare to it. Genuinely nothing can compare to her character development. Number 7 is a favorite new author that you discovered in 2023. My top 2 are Sarah J Maas and Elsie Silver. I genuinely forget all the time that like this is the first year where I read Sarah J Maas, and like Elsie Silver, like hello, she's just amazing, and like her books that came out this year are so good. These 2 authors, like, they come on top every single time that I think about it. always. Question number 8 is the happiest book that you read this year, and like happiest as in it made you happy to read it. Honestly, we all know I'm about to say the ACOTAR series. Every single time that I would pick up this book, I would be squealing and giggling and like kicking my feet up in the air. Like, this series made me so happy reading it all the times I read it. I reread each book twice this year, but then I like reread Asimov like 3 times, and every single time I had the same exact reaction to everything that was happening. Even though I knew what was going on, I still had the same exact reaction. This book series like just made my entire year. Like, I forget that I read it for the first time in February this year, and it's like I feel like I've been a part of this series for like years. Question number 8 is the most frustrating book that you read in 2023. My Fault by Mercedes Ron. I could have gone my whole entire life without reading this book. I just wanted to know why people on Book Talk or like Bookstagram were talking about it so much, so I read it and then I instantly regretted it. Within the first 2 chapters I regretted it, but I was like, I have to finish the book. I already started it. I could have gone my whole life without reading this book. It was terrible. Question number 10 is the best adaptation of the year from like book to movie. And honestly, I don't really have an answer for this, just because I didn't read any of the books before like watching any of the adaptations, because we know that Daisy Jones and the Six came out. We know that Summer I Turned Pretty came out, and then of course the Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. I can't like have a full answer. I mean, I could say the Summer I Turned Pretty, but I did not like season 2. I thought it was terrible. I don't want to say that one because like it's not my favorite show. Like, there's so many other shows that I like so much better. I want to say though, out of Daisy Jones and the Six and the Ballad, I think that Daisy Jones and the Six was the most accurate. I mean, I don't know because I didn't read the books, but I know that there was a lot of stuff that was different. Not different, but a lot of stuff that was left out of the Ballad that I think just Daisy Jones and the Six had more to like include in everything. So I am going to go with that answer. I do love the Ballad. I mean, I watched the movie twice. It was so good. I just need to read the book just so I could have like a good answer for you guys, but I have not, so it's okay. Question number 11 is the longest book that you read this year, and I didn't even realize that I have read a 900-page book, and that is Court from the Crave series. It is 941 pages. I did not realize that I read a book that long. Like, I genuinely was like, whenever I saw that number on my Goodreads, I was like, hold up, you telling me I read a almost 1,000-page book, and this entire time I'm thinking, oh, like Crescent City will be the biggest book that I read this year? No, ma'am, it will not. I was like, oh, proud of myself. Didn't even realize. And question number 12, the shortest book that I read this year is Love and Friendship by Jane Austen. Just went 90 pages. I had to read it for a class, and I saw it was on Goodreads, and I'm like, I'm counting that. I'm counting that towards my reading goal because I did read that. Question number 13 is your favorite covers of the year. Number 1, obviously, One for My Enemy. As I said, I originally bought it for the cover just because it was beautiful. Then I got the Illumicrate cover, guys. Oh my gosh, gorgeous. Second one is Done and Dusted. I love the art style of it so much. I think it's amazing. Number 3 is Daisy Hayes' The Great Undoing. I don't know what it is. I just love this cover. I love like all the covers from this entire series. I think they're all so beautiful and they're so cool. I have not read Daisy Hayes and The Great Undoing. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. I just bought it this year. So that's why it's on this list. Number 14 is a book that you have not stopped thinking about. We already know it's on this list. ACOTAR, One for My Enemy, and Hopeless by Elsie Silver. These 3 books are just, that is what has been on my mind. Y'all, you have no idea. Like, they are all I think about. And then I feel bad because I feel like I keep on repeating myself with these answers. But like, if the shoe fits, I'ma say it. You know what I mean? Number 15 is a cringiest book that you read this year. Twisted by Emily McIntyre. I did not like this book. I don't even remember what I rated it. I don't even remember what it's about. I just remember sitting there reading it and I was like, ooh. I just did not like it. It was bad. Number 16, an unpopular book that you love. Not unpopular because people don't like it, but unpopular as in it needs to be talked about more. This is Lady of Darkness series, 110%. Guys, I started this series in, I think, April. I still haven't yet to finish it just because I got wrapped up reading ACOTAR. The Lady of Darkness series is so good. I really believe that if Book Talk got like a hold of this series, it would have the same exact hype as like ACOTAR does and like Fourth Wing. Like, it is so good, and it's a completed series of 5 books, like fantasy series. It has to do with like found family, and like that is my goal for 2024, is to finish that series, is to talk about it a lot more and get people to read it because it is so good. My friend is the one who showed me the series, and I literally went and bought all the books whenever I got back from my trip. I was like, I love it. It's so good. Number 17 is what is the highest and lowest rated books on your Goodreads, and do you agree? My lowest rated book is Island Affair with a 3.47 because it's like a summer romance book. It's literally under 300 pages. So I was like, okay, I can understand that because I think I rated a 3 star. So I was like, yeah, I can see that. And my highest one is Asimov with 4.64. Obviously I agree, but like I think it also deserves a straight 5 star on Goodreads. Like, anyone who did not rate that book a 5 star, why? Like, genuinely why? Because that book, amazing. Deserved nothing less. Question number 18 is your favorite quotes from this year. Now hold please while I look through my camera roll because there is one. There is one that stuck out to me so hard. This is from One for My Enemy, and it's like one character talking to another, and it's, I will always love you. I will love you until the day I die. And if you're the one to kill me, then by all means, you should know that without a trace of doubt that you will not have turned me away. I will have spent my final beat of my heart loving you, just as I always have. Only you. I don't know what it is about that quote, but it's so good. And then I do have one from Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I know how it feels expecting more from someone who lets you down. You're not going to scare me with your feelings or your experiences, I promise. I know it's not going to undo the other stuff, but I'm choosing to be here, and nothing you say to me is going to make me change my mind. Those two quotes are the ones that I go back to all the time because like one is like an amazing love confession, and number two is just like someone saying that they are going to be there for you through anything, and like even though you have a past, like it is okay, they are with you now. Like those two quotes are so good. Some of my favorite books of this year. Honestly, I could have pulled so many quotes from the ACOTAR series, but like I'm still working on my reading vlog, guys. It's coming out, I promise. It's just taking me a little bit because of bookmas. Okay. Question number 19, book with the most unique concept. There are so many books I could have put here, so many books, but the one that like really was on my mind whenever I thought of this question was Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. That book series is so good. I've only read through Air of Fire. I'm on like Queen of Shadows, like I'm starting it, but like the first half of the series so far has been so good. Like the concept of it has been amazing. It's been written out so well, and it's just like, it's just so good. Like, and I can see the book series starting to shift towards something else right now, and I'm just like, how does someone come up with this in their brain? How does someone think of this? How does someone have the imagination for this? Like, it's so good. So question number 20 is a book that you would reread. I do have 5 for this. Number 1 is ACOTAR, which I've done. Number 2 is Throne of Glass. I really want to go back and like reread this series after I read it for the first time. Number 3 is the Chestnut Springs series, of course. Number 4 is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, and number 5 is the Crave series by Tracy Wolff. I think that I would love it more the second time around, but all these books I would reread them any day. And there's other books, of course, I would reread any day, but like these are the ones that like, oh my gosh, I would fall in love with them all over again from like start to finish the entire time. And question number 21 is a reading goal reflection and plus your 2024 reading goal. So my 2023 reading goal was originally 115, and then halfway through the year I changed it to 100 just because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna read 115 books. But I only put that goal because in 2022 I read like 125 books, so I was like, oh yeah, 115 will be good, it'll be easy. I'm not even gonna make it to 100 this year. I think right now my reading goal is at 81 books, so I don't think that that's gonna happen. But for 2024 I'm probably gonna set my reading goal to 75 just because I don't want to have a high expectations of myself. I felt myself this year being like, oh, I have to read to reach my goal, I have to read to reach my goal, whenever I just want to read. I just want to read because I love reading and because I love the books. I don't want to have these expectations of myself where it's like, oh, I have to read this many books, or I have to do this, I have to reach this goal. So I'm just gonna set it to 75 because I want it to be obtainable for myself, just so if I go over it could be great. But I don't see myself ever really setting my reading goal to 100 again because I feel like that's just too high of an expectation for me, especially because I'm in college and I'm like dying because of school. But it's fine. It's fine. And then the last question number 22 is, after 2023 reading, what are you prioritizing in 2024 reading wise? I'm prioritizing finishing every single series that I'm in the middle of because I'm in the middle of at least 10 to 15 series right now, and I need to finish them. Like, there's one book left in one series, there's 2 books in others. I still need to finish the Addicted series. I want to finish Lady of Darkness, Throne of Glass, the Cassandra Clare world. Like, I need to finish those. I just really need to finish all the series I'm in the middle of because there's a lot, and homegirl just keeps on starting books and not finishing them, or starting series and not finishing them. So I really want to finish all the series I'm in, and then I also really want to read classics. I love classics, I really do, and I did not read any this year. I think I read 1, and I was like, I have so many classics. Like, I have a whole entire classic shelf, and I don't ever pick any books off of that shelf, and I really want to because I have so many and they're all so beautiful. That is what I'm prioritizing in 2024. So those are all the questions of the end of the year book tag. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys had a fun time sitting here with me and chatting about books and maybe thinking of some of the books that you read this year. I want to hear what you guys were reading about this year, so comment down below your answer to any of these questions. You guys definitely want to stick around and subscribe just because there is more bookmas coming out. It is not over yet. So yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed. I love you all so much, and I will see you all tomorrow. I love you, and peace out.